everyone, welcome to the Ask Bess video show today. How are you? It's almost New Year's and I thought I would wear a little bit of bling today. This says Bess. I wear this sometimes to conventions. Some people say think it says boss, but actually my little brothers, when we were little, they did say I was bossy. I was the oldest one. My mom put me in charge and all that, so I had to be, But anyway, that's a little background with this. Maybe I am, I hope, a lady boss too. Hi Shamala, welcome. How are you today? Almost Happy New Year, everyone. Wanted to, thanks, it's fun. Wanted to share with people today, the topic is family feuds, because this is a time of a lot of holiday get-togethers, right? A lot of encounters with family, which can be warm and wonderful, but sometimes they can also be challenging too. So I wanted to address that today. Have you had any family feuds? Have you had any family discussions that have become heated? Well, I want to show you what you can do about that and how they can, let's see, a compassionate communication model that can help to alleviate or prevent misunderstandings or negative emotions. So let's see, trying to get the phone right today. My new iPhone, it takes a little bit different view than my old phone. So trying to get centered and all that good stuff. Anyway, hope that works. Okay, so have some tips for you today about that, about communication. Really, it's about compassionate communication. First of all, I wonder how you all are. If you're watching the replay, I'd love if you type in replay so I can thank you for that. And would like to hear how your holidays are going. How this is a holiday week. It's kind of a lull in between Christmas and New Year's. Some people are working, some people have off. Which one is it for you? Are you what are you doing this week? I'd love to hear that. Also like to hear where you're watching from. Shamal, I know you're from South Africa. I'd like to visit there one day. I think that would be fun. Have a good number of friends from there already, including Shamala. Shamala is a dear friend and also a student in our School for Network Marketers, and a lovely person. You might want to follow her too. You'll learn a lot from her posts and her open heart and her wisdom. So let me invite a few people here while I explain this show a little bit. This show is a video show inspired by the Ann Landers video column where people could write in a problem and Ann Landers would respond to it. Maybe they liked her answer, maybe they didn't, but she responded to it. And she said, the main success for that over decades of success that this column went on, she said that the success was because people want to be understood. They want to be heard. They want to know that they matter. And so that is my message to you. My message is, you matter. I hear you. I'll respond. You're not alone. I'll help. You're bigger than any problem that is before you. You can become a master problem solver. And I have a real simple 4-step method to help to do that, which I'll share in a few minutes, called Real Conversations. A method that I evolved and trademarked over 25 years ago and have been using every day ever since with myself and clients and students. So I'll share that with you. It's a way to solve any problem, to move from any problem to solution in minutes. It's the most important process I've ever seen. I'm a coach and a counselor. One man said, I've gotten more from you in one session than I have from my psychotherapy weekly for 3 years. Got more from you from this one Real Conversations session. So this method really, really works. It's proven itself over decades, and it's the best thing that I know that I can give the world. So I'm spending the rest of my life sharing this method with people, called Real Conversations. And I'll share that with you in a little bit, including some free tools and a class that you can get into. Right now I'm inviting Ruby and Kelly and Pat and Stephanie and Carrie. And thinking of you all. Maybe some people will be able to hop on. If you know someone who could benefit from this and can benefit from learning communication to help ease troubles within families, then I'd love if you tag them, invite them, or even share this live in another network marketing group. So, who am I? I should introduce myself. And welcome, Fred. Glad to see ya. Fred, you're becoming a regular too on these shows. Gosh, good to see you. So who am I? I am a body-mind therapist and holistic health practitioner for over 30 years, helping people, network marketers, but all people, break through blocks of negative beliefs and fears to who they really are in minutes, in record time, faster than any process that I've ever seen. Because what I do is I get right to the heart of what a problem is always a sign of an unmet need. So I get right to the heart of that problem real fast. That's why that guy said, I got more from you in one session than 3 years of weekly psychotherapy. So Real Conversations works. Glad to share the tools with you. I'll share the 4 steps in a few minutes. Real quick, if anybody wants those free tools for themselves, just go to the Facebook group, Real Conversations Class, and you'll see the free tools there. You'll see the class, everything. So now you don't have to wait. But let's talk about the topic for today. Since a lot of people are encountering family at this time of year, it's the thing that warms my heart the most, and it can also for some be the most challenging too. So wanted to address that. When you get together with family and something happens, emotions fly back and forth because we're all human. Then how can you turn that into a positive thing? You can see the positive in each other. You can focus on that and bring that out. It said that when we focus, it was Zig Ziglar who said he wondered if he would need to leave his marriage, but he just started focusing on the positive in his mate. And by doing that, she started becoming more and more positive to where he didn't feel like he needed to leave the marriage anymore. So he just focused, whenever he caught her doing something that positive, he would comment on that, appreciate that. And he found that she did that more and more. So he just focused on the positive and bring that out. Welcome, Ellen. Glad to see you. If you would like to learn an expert communication system to navigate your way through any uncomfortable situation, please type in yes, because that's what I'm about to share with you. A system that I learned from Marshall Rosenberg called Compassionate Communication. And this is special because it bypasses judgment, blame, demands, and requests. And it goes with four real simple steps that kind of parallel my Real Conversations process. 4 simple steps are that we speak what we observe, what we feel, what we need, and what we request. So those 4 simple steps, if we stick to those, it can keep us clear of judgment. So what we feel, what we observe, that would be what we objectively observe, not like when you were an asshole, that wouldn't be an objective observation, that would be a judgment call, right? A judgment, or name calling, actually. So when you did what you just did, or when you walked with muddy shoes through my house, I felt, and then you say the feeling, I felt annoyed in the need, because I want a clean floor and I just cleaned it and I felt really annoyed. It was dirty again. And then the request, would you be willing to take your shoes off before entering the house? Instead of saying, well, you idiot, look what you've done. What's wrong with you? Don't you, were you raised in a barn or anything like that? So that would be an example of, hey, welcome, Thomas, glad to see you. So that would be an example of something negative, like your family comes over to visit and you clean the house and they dirty it all up, and you say, what do you think I am, a maid, cleaning up after you or picking up after food that you drop all over the house. Instead, you could use that compassionate communication system, which sticks to keeps it clean and says the observation, the feeling, the need, and the request. When you, I'm really glad you came to visit for the holidays. I love visiting with you, and I love what you bring. However, when you walk through the house dropping potato chips everywhere, and my dog followed eating them, I felt worried because I want my dog to not eat potato chips, just eat healthy dog food? And would you be willing to carry a plate under your munching as you walk through my house? Or would you be willing to clean up after the potato chips that you've dropped? So that would be a way to state it more neutrally without that heavy judgment. It's not so much what we ask for or what we say, but it's the emotion with it. Like, what's wrong with you, you idiot, you inconsiderate person, don't you know, were you raised in a barn, with those, even how we say it, we can be thinking all that stuff and not even say it, and then it would still carry that negative energy. So we have to for this to work, we have to neutralize, look at things from a neutral position. Marshall Rosenberg, in his book, Nonviolent Communication, A Language of Compassion, where I learned this from, and I learned it from him and personally in many workshops. He's a beautiful man. Personally, we describe the situation neutrally, like we would a reporter reporting an accident or an incident, neutrally, right? The reporter doesn't have any emotion invested in it or judgment in it, this car accident happened. The reporter doesn't say, these were crazy idiots, that he leaves that out. It has to be neutral for the newspaper. And so that's what you can do too. You can neutrally address or describe the situation that you're upset about, but be neutral there. And then say your feelings. Not like, I feel hurt, I feel disrespected. That isn't really a feeling. You have to really get to the feeling, like I feel annoyed, I feel angry, I feel sad, or whatever it is that you really feel. But truly get to an emotion, because if you say, I feel disrespected, the person immediately in their mind is going to start debating with you. Well, I didn't disrespect you, right? They're going to argue that. But if you say, I feel sad, they can't argue that. That's just an emotion. They can't debate how you feel, right? And an emotion, I feel sad, has no judgment carried with it. Like, oh, you disrespected, I feel disrespected, means you disrespected me, and there's a judgment there. Besides, it's not an emotion. That's why we stick clean with the emotions. When you did this, I felt sad, and then we make sure that the next step is a true need that we have. When you drop potato chips through my house, I felt sad, and my need is that because I don't want to have to clean my house again. I cleaned it once and before you came, and I don't want to have to spend time cleaning the house again after you leave. And the request, would you carry a plate with you when you eat? Or would you eat at the table? Or whatever your request might be. See, that's all neutral. It doesn't carry a charge with it that the other person can feel and get their hackles up too. So that's how we keep that out. Hello, Antoinette Everett. Welcome. Glad to see you. Has been a while. So if you're watching, please put an emoji in the comments how you're feeling today, because we're talking about feelings, and I'd like to know how you're feeling today. And it also lets me know that you're there. Otherwise, I might not know that you're there. I might think I'm talking to I don't know who. But it helps me to know that people are there, because I want this to be interactive too. And if you have a question, a thought, a comment, a takeaway, I'd love to hear that. So a couple more examples about the family feud thing. Let's say that you have the grandkids over for Christmas, and one of them turns on their new remote control airplane or drone, and it starts whirling about the house and knocks over and breaks an expensive Christmas figurine that you have. And so one emotional reaction would be, don't you discipline your kids? And if we turn this to compassionate communication, what would the 4 steps be? Saying to the mother, daughter-in-law, or whoever, saying to the mother, when you are on the phone and not watching Johnny, he turned on his remote control airplane and broke one of my figurines. I felt really sad because I'd had that for 20 years. It was an heirloom from my mother, and I don't know if it's replaceable. My need is because, And I felt sad because I would like to keep my heirlooms. I would like to keep my Christmas decorations intact. Then the request, would you be willing to make your phone calls at a later time and be with your children? Or if you need to make a call, ask someone else to watch the child for you, so that I don't get my things broken in the house. You see, that's a neutral request. The person might still take it personally, but there's a lot less chances than if you say, "What's wrong? Why don't you discipline your kids?" See, welcome, Stefan. Glad to see you. Okay, another example. Let's take another one. The kids come over sick and get other people worry about getting sick too. So instead of just keeping it under your breath, right? Those are the two things we often do dysfunctionally with an annoying emotion that we might have. We might just be quiet and keep it in and simmer and smile while you're glaring at them. You know, it's said that in body language, you know, if somebody's glaring with their eyes but smiling with their mouth, you believe the eyes. You know, the eyes are glaring at you while they're trying to smile. You know, so instead of doing that, which is an incongruent message, they can feel it anyway. Or instead of lashing out at them and saying, I don't want to get sick. Now I'm going to get sick. You know, so a way to say that with compassionate communication is when you brought Mary over and she was coughing and sneezing, some of us worried about catching a cold because we don't have time to be sick. Right now, over this holiday season, we've got a lot to do. The request then, would you be willing to keep Mary home when she has a cold and come and have present openings on another day so that the other guests don't worry about getting a cold? Now, there's some debate about whether viruses are contagious and all that, but this is generally, people worry about that, so that's the request. When you brought her over, I felt worried about the other guests because we want to remain healthy. For the request is, would you be willing to keep your children home when they are ill? And so that's a more neutral way of saying it instead of keeping it in or instead of lashing out. So have you all experienced this? I'm not going to give another example. I think those are enough for today, but that's compassionate communication. You say the observation, feeling, need, and request. It keeps it clear of judgments, blames, demands, criticisms, and all that kind of negative stuff that gets people in the defensive. And when you do that anyway, the person can't really hear you. And your goal is for the person to understand you and hopefully to do what you're requesting. But if we're using judgments, blames, demands, or requests, that person can't hear us. They're too busy defending ourselves against the judgment that we're putting out. So that won't work in our favor or in their favor for any understanding, mutual understanding of each other, or mutual solution to the problem. Not likely to get your needs met using those methods. So I hope that helps. The book again is Marshall Rosenberg's book, Nonviolent Communication, A Language of Compassion. The book that I've been using for like 30 years. It always works. To have clean communications with family and probably hopefully save relationships too. Because that's what we all really want. We all really want closeness with loved ones and good relationships, don't we? So I hope that this helps. Now, what can I offer you? The Real Conversations process that I mentioned also has 4 simple steps where we look at the problem that we're stuck with. We look at the emotion under that, the need under that, and the solution to meet that need in a healthy way. Follows the 4 similar steps of compassionate communication because these things work. I put this in it's how to move from problem solution in minutes. It really, really works. It's a self-help method. I put this in a package of tools for you worth $250, but that was free for whoever wants them. You can get that over at the Facebook group, the Real Conversations class. That's the Facebook group. Open that. There's a link for the free tools. Maybe this will help you in your life. I hope so. It's been invaluable in mine. And if you want more help than that, I created a class called the Real Conversations class. It's every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. People have gotten in this class, gotten group coaching within a group. They come on with a problem, get coached. Could be anything: health, wealth, love, network marketing, job, career, communication, family, like we were just talking about. You get stuck, come on and ask that question in there. Could be about health, weight loss, spiritual fulfillment, all of those things. The Real Conversations class is about. You can get on there, get coached, or learn from other people who get on and get coached. Every single person who goes, I learn something from them. So I believe that every time we learn, every time we are party to another person getting coached in that class, that we learn ourselves as well in that same area, because we're all human. We're very, very similar. So it may help for a situation that comes up. Maybe you learn something in the class that can help during that week. Save a relationship, save a job, lose weight. It applies to all of that. Health, wealth, love, everything. So that class is at 9 p.m. Eastern Time every Tuesday. It's not recorded for privacy. You can come on with a different name so you can protect your privacy that way too. So, and the people who want more help than that, like one-on-one help, that's when people call me for private consultation. So I do one-on-one consulting and counseling as well as a body-mind therapist and holistic health practitioner for 30 years. People tell me, you're good at this. This is your calling, obviously. So glad to help anyone who is wanting it as well. I also have special programs that go farther. I have something called the mental clearing. Just this morning I facilitated a mental clearing for a gentleman, and it's about a 2-hour process with preparation beforehand and homework to follow up after, to clear out negative beliefs and fears from childhood or from our past, things that might be holding us back in any area, relationships, work, health, any of that. So it's a very, very deep process. Just private message me if you'd like more information about the mental clearing. Very precious work to me, very sacred work. Helping people to break through their blocks. That's what I do. That's what I specialize in, and to do it quickly. So thank you all for watching. Ask Bess show. It's here every Saturday and Sunday at noon Eastern Time. And I cover a topic that you ask a question about, or that I think that many people could benefit from. So come on back Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern Time. Feel free to share with people. Share in other Facebook groups so you can watch it too. Have a great New Year. What are you going to do for the New Year? Do you have any New Year's resolutions? Yesterday I made a funny video about New Year's resolutions. Hope you enjoy it. There's some real funny ones there, as well as tips to increase the likelihood that you do reach your New Year's resolutions. So hello, Patty. I did get a text from you while I was on the show, Patty, but I couldn't respond to it. I think it said that you were having trouble getting on, but I'm glad you made it. And I'm going to conclude now, but you can watch the replay, which I'll post in just a moment. And glad you made it on. And thank you everybody for joining. I love you. Best wishes. You're bigger than any problem before you. Have the kind of life that you dream. You can do that. I'll be glad to help. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.